Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And on behalf of the CPGIS Education Committee, I would like to welcome you to the CPGIS Education webinar series on GIS and natural hazards. And so we have our past CPGIS President, Dr. Song Gao here. So I would like to invite Dr. Gao to say a few words, and then we can get started.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Wu. On behalf of the current CPGIS president, Dr. Mulan, who is actually teaching right now because of the time conflicts, she asked me to just welcome everyone to join our organization's annual educational webinar series. So led by Dr. Chisheng Wu, and this is the first series. The theme is GIS and natural hazards. We also have another, webinar series about the Geo AI. So as some of you may know, and this is our annual events. And I also want to take this opportunity to welcome you to participate our 30th International Conference on Geoinformatics, which will be held in London, UK this summer. So I will post a link later on Zoom. You can also find this information in our cpgis.org website. And finally, I just want to thank Dr. Chisheng Wu and then our educational committee who made a great efforts to initiate this webinar series and manage this series, as well as thank you every participants, especially for our invited guest speakers. So I hope you to enjoy this webinar series. So now floor back to Dr. Wu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Gao, for the introduction, and welcome again. And so in this webinar series, we aim to explore the intersection between GIS and natural hazards, and how GIS can be better used to better understand and prepare for and also respond to natural disasters. As we all know, natural disasters such as floods, earthquake, wildfire, hurricanes, they all have devastating impacts on our community and the environment. But by leveraging GIS, we can gain a better understanding of the risks associated with these hazards, and also identify, for example, vulnerable areas and develop effective mitigation and response strategies. So we over the course of this webinar series, we have 6 speakers in the field of GIS and natural hazards, and they will share the insights on the topic of GIS and natural hazards. We hope this webinar series will provide some valuable insight for you, and also some practical tools that can be applied to your work and research related to natural hazards. And we encourage you to participate, ask questions on Zoom, and thank you for joining us. We hope that it will be an engaging and informative webinar series. And so you can scan the QR code to follow the CPGIS Weixin 公众号. And on the right here, you can see the speakers. And we have, let me show you here. We have 6 speakers. So also, you're welcome to join the CPGIS, not the CPGIS, the WeChat group related to GIS and natural hazards. We created just for starting the conversation specifically for this webinar series. So you're welcome to join the WeChat group and share with your colleague if they would like to engage with the speakers. And so today we're delighted to have our first speaker, Dr. Wang from Shenzhen University, and his our title is using ubiquitous remote sensing methods for disaster response and management. And I would like to give a brief introduction to Dr. Wang. Dr. Wang received his bachelor's degree from Beijing Normal University, and his master's degree from the Institute of Applied Remote Sensing, Chinese Academy of Science, and his PhD degree from the Department of Land Surveying and Geoinformatics at Hong Kong Polytechnic University. He is currently the associate professor at the Ministry of Natural Resources Key Laboratory for Geo-Environmental Monitoring of the Great Bay Area School of Architecture and Urban Planning at Shenzhen University. his current research interest includes imaging geodesy and disaster monitoring. So Dr. Wang will give a presentation about 40 minutes, and then we have 10 to 15 minutes for discussion. During the webinar, you're welcome to ask questions using the Zoom chat, and Dr. Wang will answer your questions after his presentation. Without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Wang for the presentation. And let me stop the screen sharing. You can take over now.
Okay, thank you. So can you see the
Yes.
the slides? Okay. Yes. Great. Thanks for the introduction from Dr. Wu. So today I'm very glad I can be the first speaker in this webinar series. So my topic today is about using the Ubiquitous remote sensing methods for disaster response and management. And my name is Wang Chisheng from Shenzhen University. So I can skip the slides right now because Dr. Wu has already introduced me about my background. And this is also the WeChat QR code. If you just missed the one in the slide of Dr. Wu, you can also take this. So here.
So Dr. Wang, sorry, we didn't see the slideshow. I think maybe are you using two screens? Yeah, maybe you can.
Yeah, I use yes. Thank you for pointing this. I using two schemes. So
yeah.
so now it's okay. Can you see
yeah.
the change of the slides? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So, we show our QR code again. And so let's go to this talk. So
just quick,
today
there's a like the 输入法 shown on the screen. If you can highlight, I'm not sure you can.
Oh, I see this.
Okay, it's good now.
Move to another scheme. Okay, what's the problem? So it keep coming back. Maybe I can put it in there.
Yeah, it's still showing up.
Sure.
Oh, it's gone. Oh, it's coming back. Never mind. It just maybe move to the lower corner or something.
Okay, I put it here. Maybe it will not matter too much.
Okay.
Okay, I start my talk. So for today's talk, I summarize some keywords. The purpose of our work in this is for enhance the already Earth observation data source. So the type of data we used will be VGI, and in particularly it will be crowdsourcing image. And this image will be taken on the ground and as well as on urban skyline and the passenger aircraft. So first I will give a very brief introduction, and the following three sections will about the particular works we have done related to this topic. So VGI is not an unfamiliar topic right now, because I think many of us working in the geospatial field already benefit a lot from this kind of information. We can get the open source free GIS data from the internet, which is come from the volunteer contributions. And where the crowdsourcing data images can be grouped to the category of VGI, and is normally refers to the digital images that are uploaded by volunteers to the website, and it can provide a wider range of data source for the acquisition of multi-scale geographic information. And thanks to the development of our smartphones, particularly for our smartphones and the camera and consumer level cameras, so make it very easy for the acquisition of such kind of crowdsourcing images. And building Rome in a day is one of the most famous project using crowdsourcing image for application. So it's come up in 2009, already 14 years passed. But when we still look at these videos, I find this job is still look amazing. And all the data they collected are from the internet, taken by tourists on the sharing on the website, and they took all these images. They can create the 3D models, 3D point cloud of the city only in 1 day. Actually, after this project, I mentioned 14 years has passed, but we have not seen another fantastic project like this one. So I concluded it may be because there are many significant challenges in this field. Its crowdsourcing images is not as good as what we expect. So here I list the 3 aspects. First is partly because the quality is inconsistent. Even though the imaging quality of the cameras of smartphones has increased, but it has been taken by different people, and so the quality cannot be controlled very well. And the last 2 one I think should be the crucial reasons. The first is most of the images shared in the internet are in the very limited number of places, most on the tourist places, like in Beijing, maybe it will be quite easily find the images of Great Wall, of Forbidden City, of Tiananmen Square. But if we want to look at other places, like we want to use the motion sensing images to apply it for other purposes, and this kind of images may not have it, may not help. And the last one is that most of picture, I can maybe what all the crowdsourcing images defined today is the image take on the ground. So for this kind of image, the vision, the view of the image is limited. The information contained in this image is also limited. So we cannot get very useful information from this kind of images. So here in our work, we want to extend this definition a little larger. Maybe we can think big about the crowd sourcing images is cannot only limited on the ground, because nowadays for ordinary people it's quite easy for us to reach to a much higher place like the urban skyline. Many people may their office are already in a very high place, and also passenger aircraft. So nowadays people is quite easy to take flights, and so this 2 kind of platforms are very easy for ordinary people to reach. So here in our work, we just extended the crowdsourcing images not only taken on the ground, we also take on the urban tall buildings and also on the aircraft, on the passenger aircraft. So this we divided into 3 different work. I will talk in the following slides. The first one is the we call it volunteered passenger aircraft remote sensing. This kind of remote sensing data generated approach is based on the crowdsourcing images acquired by passenger using handheld camera in passenger aircraft. So in this slide, I will show you a video I take on the flight from Qingdao, maybe from Qingdao to Shenzhen. And from this video, we can see the solution, the quality. I think is comparable to many remote sensing products. So we can see the building very clear. We can see the road, and we can see the railway. Actually, it was taken at the I see it's about 10 kilometers about the Earth. So I have a little bit zoom in using my smartphone, but it still have very high quality here. So using this kind of data, it can complement the already the satellite remote sensing database. So for passenger aircraft, every day, every meters, there will be a huge number of flights over about the Earth, and we make a rough calculations. If we can make use of them, it will be equal to about 250 satellites. And here is the processing framework for using the originally video or image taken by the smartphone, and we can process it to the remote sensing products. So I will not go details about the processing steps, but one at the very beginning, because this is what many people ask me about. So how do you know the position of your camera? How do you do the photogrammetric processing? So here, this is the tricks. So we use what we for every commercial flight, the position will be reported to public. So everyone, you can get, if you have a sensor, you can check the position. Someone have do it and collected all the position of the flights and published on the internet. So it's very, only if we have the flight number and have the date of the flight, and we can have a general trajectory of this flight, and using this rough trajectory, we can combine with the time information in our pictures, we can give a initial guess of the position of cameras, and with this initializations, and we can come to our photogrammetric processing. And then another two very important steps is the first is head removal. The picture taken by our ordinary cameras, the quality is not as well as the professional device. So we have to remove the head on this picture to make it more be easy to model together. And another very significant features in this kind of remote sensing approach is that we can remove the cloud. For if satellite at a very high altitude, this cloud is just like it's cloud. We cannot see the object under the cloud. But if we have a relative low altitude, like the passenger aircraft, when this aircraft flight past this cloud, we can have a look of the object in different angle. So this is what actually the images when we pass this cloud, we take the using our smartphone, and when we combine them together, when we stack them together, we can remove this cloud, and it's very helpful, especially when if there is cloud, it's impossible for us to remove it. And unless you take different data to fix. So in our case, we can do the cloud remove very easily. So here is several typical products we can generate it using this kind of approach. That includes the DOM, the digital orthographic mosaic image, and the 3D point cloud, and the digital elevation model, and the nighttime remote sensing images. So we have done some application using this kind of data. We have do the urban classifications and compare it to the other classification results using the normal remote sensing data, and we find that the classification result is comparable to the professional ones. And for disaster monitoring is also the very important thing for disaster response or management is that we can rapidly get the data. Actually, especially for flood mapping, there are always a cloud as on the region, and for satellite mapping, satellite remote sensing mapping, we cannot get the timing product in most cases. However, here is a test for the 2019 Guangdong flood. So we can see that a cloud covered this area, but if we using the passenger aircraft images, we can remove this cloud and see the ground under the cloud. And also using these images, we can map the flood areas and take it for the disaster management. And also another flood mapping case in 2021 Henan flood. We take these images. The area is about 150 square kilometers, And we use the video captured for about, I guess, about 5 minutes. We can, it's very quite efficient for generating this kind of data. And we can get this data very quickly. In this case, after our flight land, and we can get this data, this images about in 1 hour. So actually, it's quite easy to deploy than UAV, and also it can give the image, give the data that the satellite remote sensing cannot give to us. So, and there are other kind of applications like using the nighttime images for the light pollution. So here there are 3 different nighttime images. This one is taken using the passenger aircraft, and this 2 is the ordinary one. We can see that for our case, we have a very high resolution compared to other very commonly used nighttime products. And also in this one, we can have 3 channels. We can have RGB channels. Sounds much better than other ones. And for this kind of application, we have some experience that in order to control the quality and to obtain a good product, we have some suggestions. For the input images, we prefer that there should be an overlapping larger than the 50%, and we prefer to include some ground pixels to include the accuracy of the geocoding, and also we prefer use the images with the active info, so that we have the time information, and we can have an initial guess of the position of the camera. And also we would like to have the airline information so that we can do our, I said before, for the position guess for the initialization of the camera position. So we also developed the WeChat app and also a website. For this WeChat app, if we want to collect the images from the volunteers, we can invite the volunteers to scan this WeChat app and upload the images and as required, just as I mentioned in the previous slide, and include the flight information and the active info in the images. And after the volunteers upload the images, they can view the upload images and our process results from the website. So this is the many video shows how the app and how our website works. So here are some publications and the patterns about this work. Well, in the beginning, I think our group is the only group who pay attention to this field. Actually, after that, I find the following. I find many also some companies, some research groups are also joining this kind of research. I will show a video from a company named Skyflocks. It have make a very good introduction about this.
Our planet is alive, and new technologies can help us better understand it. By looking at our planet from above, we can, for instance, watch our forests or monitor the air we breathe. Today, we use satellites and drones to observe the Earth. However, satellites are expensive to build and to launch. Drones see little, cannot fly very far, and face very strict regulations because of the thousands of daily passenger flights. All these airplanes are transporting people around the world, so why not have them look at our planet as well? Introducing Orca, observing the Earth with fleets of airliners. By equipping planes with sensors, they become a new source of information to better understand our planet, a new layer. It's cost-effective, the data is of high resolution and very frequent due to the vast number of flights. Of course, Orca also presents a steady source of extra revenues for the airliners, who can extract more value from their fleet. the airliner wins and our planet wins. Visit our website at skyflocks.eu.
And also some researchers estimate the coverage of the flight if we use the passenger aircraft for the Earth observations, the coverage in the Europe area, and also the Airbus. This company also have developed such kind of equipment can be deployed on the passenger aircraft for the land observation. And the JAXA also have some plans for using passenger aircraft to monitor the atmosphere and take this data to combine with satellite for the global warming measurements. Okay, I can do the second part of our group. For disaster monitoring, like city flood or other emergencies in urban cities, we may require even much higher frequent observations. So just require us maybe if we can not only using the large scale remote sensing images, but we can also using the remote sensing videos. So actually, this is what a company of China, of our country, that they have launched a remote sensing satellite that can generate the remote sensing videos. So called the Jilin 1号. So we can see the vehicle moving on the road from this data, from this remote sensing videos. But well, it looks very cool, but a very crucial limitation of this product is that this video only lasts for several seconds, and the longest one cannot exceed 20 seconds. So the application of such a very short videos actually is very limited. So it cannot be improved because the satellite passed very fast about the Earth, so that has caused these limitations. So actually, in this work, we proposed that maybe we can use the sensors on the urban skyline, so that for many large cities in China, the tallest buildings, we can find many buildings with the height exceed about 300 meters. You know, in cities, the UAV, the limited flight height for UAV is 120 meters. So all the tall buildings can reach a much higher place than the UAV. So it should be a very great platform for us to collect the remote sensing data. So here is our ideas. Maybe we can deploy some sensors on the high point of our city, and using these images or videos to create the very high frequent observation data. So here is the first we want to look into the equipment. What kind of camera should we take? Because it's a little different from the ordinary imaging, because in the angle is quite difficult for if we install a camera on the high buildings for the far field and for the near field. We may have a clear picture, have a high resolution in the near field, but for the high field, for the far field, if we can get a very good observation, a good view, we need much more better cameras. So this is one a camera called the big pixel cameras. Actually, it's not developed by us, and this one is very expensive. So, but it can help to do this. And we have found another ideas that they're using the camera arrays. Is proposed by a research group in Stanford University. So using this camera arrays, and they can have many advantages. The first one is for the far field and the near field. If we only use one cameras, we should select the point we want to focus, and we make it just, for example, near field image object to be more clear, and the far field object will be.
讲到灾害管理，那
However,
个
if
跟
we
跟你们
using
看跟灾害有
the
什么关系啊？
camera arrays, and we can have full images with very clear we have very clear images of all the objects in near field and far field. And under this ideas, we develop the device in our group, and like this. And we have also write a software so that we can use the images, combine them together. And here are other kind of technologies, algorithms we need to apply for this kind of data. We need the apply the video stabilization, so that this is our case. On the left side is before the stabilization, and on the right side is after the stabilization. So because for the video, for the high frequent observation, we want each pixels to represent we want to compare the object on different frame of the video. So actually we should make them be registered together, and there will be no like this one. After the stabilization, the images will be better used. And this is some kind of products. Maybe we can generate it from this approach. We can also have a DOM, the digital orthographic mosaic images, and also we can create a 3D point cloud. Actually, it's not, we have not done it yet, but it's possible if we have the camera videos from different high point, and we have different looking angles, and using the programmatic ways, we can create the 3D model of the common scene regions, and this 3D point cloud could be real time. So we image it, but we have not done some work on this side. Yeah, here is an application that we use the motion video data generated by this way for the traffic information extractions. So here is the data we collected in the tallest building in Shenzhen, the Ping An Financial Center, and we use this is the general workflow, and for us to processing this data, we also applied a regular photogrammetric processing, and we do a classification using the deep learning network, and then we use the classification result for the vehicle count and density calculation. After that, we do the visualizations. So here is some result before the geometric corrections. We can is oblique images. After that, we can have also graphic images. And this is the video. What is the original video looks like? And after the correction, this is the orthographic video we get. And we applied the classification algorithms on these images, and to identify the different cars, different vehicles from the video, and we do some vehicle density count and calculations, and the classification accuracy is satisfactory. We are just a visualization of this cars. So here is the final video. In this video, this is a video. It's not an image. We can see the vehicle moving on the ground, and the red box mark the vehicle identified by the classification algorithms. And here is the zoom in images of this video. And so this kind of video, we compare it to the remote sensing video generated by the satellite. It can last for a very long time, so it has a very I believe it has a very great potential for application in disaster management, and even can be used for for cloud monitoring, something like that. And also the nighttime images can also be used for the urban socio-economic monitoring. And so this is the potential application we just think can happen if we use can take real use of this kind of data, like the digital twins by monitoring rescue and emergency, and cloud monitoring, urban socio-economic monitoring. And if we install the SAR, the LiDAR instrument on the top place, maybe we can do the real-time urban subsidence monitoring. So, and we also find that after our work, we also find some other people have done this, done very similar work. They installed the sensors on the tall buildings of New York City, and they call it the urban observatory. So here is some publication and works. So the last one we will talk about the INSA crowdsourcing and notation system. So insights nowadays insights are will use the techniques for monitoring the ground deformations, but very limited part for INSA data is that if we want to use it, we need the building work. We need to validate it. Actually, INSA can easily give us a very large area monitoring result, but it's very hard for us to collect the local information or the local field surveying data. So just as mentioned by the prestigious scientist in this field, the Dr. Flaherty, he said INSA results are so nice, so cool, so informative that you cannot even think that it won't become a standard tools for monitoring. So actually, it's not still not a standard tools for this. It's because for example, for early warning of disasters or for some more complicated applications, we need not only INSA data, we need many different kind of data. And nowadays in practice, for the early warning of for example the landslide and some disasters, we also really rely on the information that acquired by the local people, because they can find the precursor at the first time. So so that is what I think if we can combine these two kinds of information together, and it might be help us to make better use of INSA results. So here is the idea why we do this work. First, because the traditional validation methods for INSA have required the costly and the time-consuming field work. And however, for a large area and for faster evaluations, which we want to have a low cost and fast validation. So here we propose that we developed the INSA crowdsourcing annotation systems. We hope it can give some kind of solutions for the low-cost solution for the post-INSA validation and analysis. So in this systems, there are many three steps. The first, in the very beginning, we upload the INSA data to our systems, and we can invite the volunteers, most local people, to upload the information about the area where we think it might have some problems because of the high deformation have been observed by INSA data. And secondly, the upload images or information will be checked by professionals. And after that, after the check, this will be confirmed by backend administrator. And then this information will be combined together to generate a report about the future risk in this area. So here is the general framework, include how we processing the INSA and how the system works, and how after that the detailed analysis will be applied on the by combining two informations. So we also have developed some algorithms for rapid visualization with a large amount of the INSA point date, and we have a system that interface for the volunteers. They can log in to system and upload the local pictures about the information. And here is the interface for administrator manager, and some task we post for every danger areas we think the local surveying is required. And also, sorry, I didn't notice that the slide didn't move in another screen. So here, so this is the system we have developed and the website of our INSA crowdsourcing annotation system. So some interfaces I will pass it. So we use it to have done a case study in Shenzhen, and we published 119 task areas that corresponded to the local ununiform information. So we think there may be some subsidence and potentially sinkhole may happen in future in these areas. So we passed these areas online, and we invited the volunteers to upload the local images. And in this case study, we collect about 1,800 pictures, and among them there are 1,700 photos were determined to be useful after inspection by the administrators and the professionals. So here is some examples. We have found that there are a very good consistency between the pictures and the INSA results. And for this kind of case points, we will do a further analysis. We examine the time series INSA observations, and to check what the cause of this kind of deformation, because some deformations like linear, the patterns are different, and the different patterns may have different impact for the future headlands. And we make a initial risk grading systems based on the images and on our results, and we put it into 5 grade. The first one is attention, and precautions, and the warning, alert, alarm, and this can help us to group different kind of risks in this area. So here are some publications. So thank you very much for this talk, for joining this talk. So this is orbit. So I like to answer any questions. Maybe I should first look at the chat box.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Wang, for the very interesting, insightful presentation. And so first, we're going to open the floor for questions, and we're going to answer questions from the chat first, and then later I can allow you to unmute to ask questions. So the first question is from Huingjie, where to obtain the volunteer passenger aircraft photo data?
Yeah, these are very good questions, and just ask. Actually, we plan that we will in our case we use the WeChat how to say WeChat official account. We put some advertisement on particularly in an account of in Shenzhen, and we just for example for one case we put this advertisement, and we invited the volunteers to contribute to it. Actually, in practice, we cannot collect very much in this way, and unless we said that we should pay for it. Yeah, if we should give some rewards to their contribution. So in this case, we can collect much more, and this is what I have done in most of our case So actually, it's not like because it's not like the OpenStreetMap that many great volunteers they can contribute it without any refund. But in my case, I found it's hard. And yeah, this is I think these are very good questions. And I can see all the questions. Maybe I can read it out.
Yeah, go ahead.
So how to collect the volunteer passenger aircraft remote sensing data? Yes. I will show images, and I think also this is a very great question because it's totally the passenger aircraft images is totally different from what the images we faced in our most case. So I give a very brief introduction. Actually, what we have done is first we give the position for the camera based on the trajectory of the flight, and also the time information that contained in the active head information of the images. And with this very initial the camera positions, and we can do it's very similar to the UAV image processing, and we can do the photogrammetric processing, and after that we can generate the 3D point cloud and orthographic images. Actually, last year are very positioning accurate positioning in this product. So here we will use a control point on the ground. So actually this control point comes from, we just compared our images and to the Google's images, and we manually created this control point, and we use it to collect the positioning programs of our images. So after that, it can have a satisfied accuracy, I believe. So different passengers may actually, we just for one case we use the images by only one passengers. So would you, and this one just what would be the frequency of the data to monitor a flood, since the flood won't last very long? How much VPAIS would you need to get one flood mapping? In the real case, if we do need very frequent observations about one disaster, actually, I suggest that we can do it by ourselves. We should not only rely on the contribution from volunteers, because actually it's a very big problem for that. Although I said it's volunteer the remote sensing way, but we can do it by ourselves. For example, in the Zhengzhou flood case, there are many flights every day fly from Zhengzhou to different place, and it's not hard for us to, and the cost for the flight is also very low for compare with using the UAV to do the surveying work. So actually it depends how frequent the government or how frequent the other the people want you to get it. So what software we are using for the image data processing? Are those codes free to share? Actually, it's not all right by ourselves, just for very particular part. For example, for the initial positioning gas, and the photogrammetric part is we do it by different softwares, and we find that the CC capture context works better, and we also have used the now it's called the MetaShape. In the past it's called the PhotoScan, and so these are the two main software we use to process the passenger aircraft, and actually for the beginning code and for the after processing code is quite easy. I don't think it's necessary for us to share this. Okay, I guess I have already given answers to the questions in the chat box.
Yeah, so thank you for that. And if you have further questions, you are welcome to unmute yourself to ask questions if you want to. So we still have 7 minutes. Please feel free to unmute. Anyone? If not, I'd like to ask a question. So it's very interesting, especially I think the last one about the INSA, the lane subsidence that you use there, and then you use some cross source to basically people contribute to the validation of that. So right now you only do that for example, in Shenzhen.
Yes.
Do you envision that it can be applicable to other area? Because this looks very interesting. And then, I mean, would the data be applicable to other areas around the globe? And also, because the cross source, I mean, everyone can do it. I don't think that will be a problem, but it's more about the data and the processing. Would that be applicable to like larger scale area globally, nationally, something like that?
Yes, this is a very good question. I think it's possible and it's applicable, but in our group we have a very limited number of people, and after this application, actually we are quite interested in the area in Shenzhen, in Guangdong, and for other place, the first problem for us is we can hardly to put our advertisement to the volunteers in Shenzhen. We have some undergraduate students that are quite familiar with the way how we can put our advertisement and how people can join in this activities. But I think actually it can be, it's not dependent on the technique part. It's just depend on if the government want to do this job, it will be quite easy. Or if any large company like Tencent or some TikTok or not TikTok, Douyin, some very famous platform want to do put this advertisement and do some kind of this work, it would be quite easy. But for us, and so we have limited our the area in Shenzhen.
Yeah, it's definitely, if like, but if it's the methodology and it's the tools are very can be transferable, they'd be very nice to see how it can be applied to large area, because that happen, I mean, around the globe. Yeah. Any questions? Anyone want to ask questions?
Yeah, this is Yakin Xu from University of Tennessee, Knoxville. I'm here to support Dr. Chisheng Wang. So Dr. Wang Chisheng's work on the volunteer passenger aircraft, you know, is a brilliant idea. And actually, I'm one of the collaborator with Dr. Wang, and also I'm one of the co-author of the paper. So I just wanted to say that, you know, although, you know, the pictures taken from different phones might have different angles and have different, you know, kind of like deformation, but the structure for motion and the data processing that we're using here works really well. And as a proof of concept, I think this is a brilliant idea, and this could provide more, you know, like remote sensing platform that could cover larger areas and could be additional data sets. Yeah, good work, Dr. Wang. Yeah, this is my quick comment. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks. You know, when I just in the very beginning, we think about these ideas and submit a paper, and it was rejected once by once. And finally, there is a real said that, oh, it's a very brilliant ideas, and maybe it cannot be accepted in many journals, but this have given me encouraged me to continue this work, and so I very thanks for this comment. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Xu, for the remarks. Any other questions?
Can I have a quick question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I posted like earlier, but so I would like to know how much the image from the aircraft you need to get like one flood mapping, because I know the case you were mentioning in Zhengzhou lasts for quite long, whereas in my case study, which is Nairobi, it actually lasts for like maybe just 2 hours for like one flood. So I mean, the possibility of catching a flood is quite limited. So that's why I wanted to know how much image or like video would you need to get one flood mapping?
Yeah, for example, I can do the Zhengzhou case. Maybe I didn't describe it very clear. In this case, the time for capturing the images is only 7 minutes, and it have a coverage of 150 square kilometers. So for this case, I don't remember it very accurately. It may be 5 minutes or 7 minutes. I using the smartphone video. The video just the time last, and actually when we, as long as we land the flight, the plane land and upload this videos to our processing center or to our computers, and to generate this date, it actually for our very good computers less than 1 hour, and even less than half an hour if we are familiar with all the processing steps. So I don't think whether this answers the questions.
Oh yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. And that was great presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the questions. One last question. One last question. Anyone?
How to synthesize the remote sensing data of very special captured by different volunteers? Yeah, this is I have to admit that it's quite difficult. We actually currently what we processing this data is that we use for example, one set of images by one volunteers to process this as a group, and for another as a group, and maybe this they can be combined together. But from different volunteers, we have not yet do this job. It may be possible that from different cameras and from different angles with different focal lengths, and so just like what the building Rome in 1 day project, it's possible to do it, but actually in our work we have not have a try on this.
Okay, thank you very much. And we are right at 10:01. So thank you, Dr. Wang, again for the very interesting and informative presentation. And thank you everyone for attending. So the webinar has been recorded. We'll make the video available on the CPGIS YouTube channel later today or tomorrow. And so you're welcome to follow the CPGIS WeChat group for the updates of the future webinars, and also on Eventbrite. So we look forward to seeing you again next week. So we have weekly webinars. Next time will be on Friday, I believe Friday morning, Thursday night Eastern time. So we send out the announcements later this week, and so we look forward to seeing you next week. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and or for us on CPGIS WeChat group. And thank you again. Have a great weekend. So I see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.